In the second part of how to build a Mashup tutorial, we will expand upon the previously created AM2302 Mashup and introduce a new type of widget called a label chart widget. This will allow us to display historical temperature and humidity data that we will have stored over time in a value stream. Let's start by first creating a value stream. A value stream is a ThingWorx entity that will store the properties we need at the moment we need it and associate them with a timestamp value. A detailed tutorial about value streams can be found in the wiki pages of ThingWorx community site in the videos section. To create a value stream, locate the search bar and type +v. Select the +value stream option. Leave the default value stream option and click Choose. Name it AM2302 value stream and click Save. Next, we will associate this value stream to the AM2302 thing so that its temperature and humidity properties can be logged in the storage space that it provides. The next step that we need to take is to indicate that we want the temperature and humidity values to be logged. Go to the Properties section of the AM2302 shape and edit each of the two properties by clicking on the little pen icon. Let's begin with the temperature property. In the right area, we have a series of properties. Locate the Log checkbox in the Aspect section and check it. In the Data Changed info, you can choose when you want the property to be logged. The option Always means that it will be logged in the value stream each time its value is pushed to the ThingWorx server. As you may recall from previous tutorials, values from our temperature and humidity sensor are pushed into ThingWorx by the Edge microserver application running on our Raspberry Pi. We will leave the Always option for this tutorial. Next, we will click Done and check the Logged checkbox also for the humidity property. Save the modifications we brought to the AM2302 shape and go back to our Mashup. I already have it opened in a tab, but if you can't see it in a tab, you can locate it by typing AM2302 mesh in the search bar. To display the temperature and humidity values stored in our value stream, we need to first bring them into our Mashup through a service. The service that provides this data is called Query Property History and belongs to the AM2302 thing. Let's go ahead and add it in our data panel. Click the plus button on the black line of the AM2302 thing. This means that we want to add another service for this entity. Type Query Prop in the filter area to locate it faster. Once you have found it, click the little blue arrow to select it. We will check Mashup Loaded so that this service will be called once we view the Mashup. This way, we will see all the data without the need to take other actions, like clicking on a button. Click Done to finish this step. If you expand the added service, you will see the data that it returns. We will use this data to bind it to a label chart widget. Let's go ahead and locate the label chart widget in our widgets area and drag and drop two of them under each of the two gauges we already have in our Mashup. We will resize them to better use the available space. A widget can be resized by clicking on it and setting its width and height properties in the configuration area, or you could use the arrow cursor and resize it like you would with a normal window on your Windows operating system. Before configuring the label charts to correctly display the data that we want, we have to bind this data to them. Drag and drop all data from the Query Property History service onto the first label chart. Select Data as binding target. The other binding options can be used if you want to plot data coming from different sources. We will do the same binding for the second label chart widget. Next, we will set a couple of properties on each of the label charts. Let's start with the first one, on which we will display the temperature values over time. Click on it and set the chart type attribute to line/marker. The x-axis field to timestamp. Set also the x-axis format to display the time as hour, minutes, seconds, and whether it is AM or PM. Next, set also the x-axis type to date/time. The last attributes we need to set are data field 1 and data label 1. Choose prop temperature for data field 1 and type in temperature for the data label 1 field. We will follow the same steps for the second label chart, setting the chart type to line marker, the x-axis field to timestamp with the same x-axis format we set for the first label chart. X-axis type is date/time. The date field 1 will be prop humidity this time, and the data label 1 will be humidity. Next, click Save and view Mashup. We can now see our historical temperature and humidity data on the two label charts. One last thing that we need to add to our Mashup is an auto-refresh widget that will refresh our displayed data at any interval of time that we want. Go back to the editing page of the Mashup and locate an auto-refresh widget in the widgets area. Drag and drop one between the first gauge and the first label chart widgets. When hovering over the little arrow in the left corner of the auto-refresh widget, you will see a refresh property that can be used as a trigger event for other services. Drag and drop this trigger event on each of the two services that we have previously brought in our data panel. By clicking on the red line of each service, you can verify in the connections area if the bindings were properly made. Next, we will also change the refresh interval from 30 seconds to 5 seconds. Click on the Auto Refresh widget and look for refresh interval in the configuration area. Type in 5 and press Enter. Now you can save and view the Mashup. Hold the humidity and temperature sensor for a couple of seconds in your hand and then click Refresh. You will see the values being updated on the Mashup.